The Favorite is directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, who's a director of a little film that I watched a tiny bit before I started doing reviews called The Lobster. You know, I thought it was an interesting premise, but overall, just a weird movie. It was, however, good enough for me to, you know, warrant myself some excitement for this film, The Favorite. The story takes place in early 18th century England, and is based off of true events. Based off of. A lot of it is conjecture, but you'll see what I mean if you guys do decide to see it. But at this point, England is at war with France, and despite all of this, we see the upper class and the nobles partying all day, doing weird shit like, not cockfights, but like cock racing, you know, chickens racing around and doing shit. But anyway, a frail Queen Anne occupies the throne, and her close friend from childhood, Lady Sarah, governs the country in her stead while tending to Anne's ill health and very impulsive temper. When a new servant, Abigail arrives, her charm endears her to Sarah. Sarah takes her under her wing, and Abigail sees this as a chance to return to her aristocratic roots, because she used to be an aristocrat. I almost said Aristocat, like the Disney movie. But she, you know, her family basically lost it earlier up the line, and they explained it a bit in the movie. Now, for those of the uninitiated, you know, the people who've never seen any of my videos before, the way that I break down my thoughts is I go into a pro and con list, you know, and it's pretty simple, you know. Pros are everything that I thought were good about the movie, cons were anything that I thought were just completely terrible or at least lacking thereof of a certain quality. And for this, I try to keep each section separate. However, there will be times where I'll be doing, like, say, a pro, and then it'll easily transition into a con. So I will take advantage of that as much as I can, but for the most part, I will keep them separate. Anyway, there's your disclaimer. Let's go ahead and get into the review. For the first three pros, we actually have the three main performances. You know, the actress and the two supporting actresses. We have Olivia Colman, Rachel Weisz, and Emma Stone. Olivia Colman plays the impulsively angered and anxiety-ridden Queen Anne. And going in, I was actually worried that maybe she was going to play that side a little too hard, especially with how insane her performance came across in the trailers. But, you know, what I got was one of the more genuine and realistic performances I've seen all year. Sure, she does have many outbursts, but after a while you learn about the tragedies that she's had to go through in her life, and you understand, you know, just why she is the way she is, and you even root for her whenever she's feeling a bit more positive about her life. And one thing that I found interesting is that she's credited as the main character, but from the trailers I didn't get that, and also from the movie I didn't get that at all. I would argue that either Rachel Weisz or Emma Stone were the main characters, or one of them was the main character, with maybe Emma Stone, you know, taking a bit of a slight edge in that because of how the film focused. But hey, I don't make the rules for how award shows have their criteria for things. Next we have Emma Stone. This is the nastiest character I've ever seen her play, and she starts out as this sweet, kind, and honest character, but her transformation is really a sight to behold. And then for Rachel Weisz, we have her who just uses all of her lines of dialogue to pierce through anyone that's in her way like she's a knife. And there was really a definite power behind her performance, and frankly, she could be very terrifying at times. Every performance is like career best material for the main trio, and they all deserve Oscar nominations, especially Colman. Will any of them win? I'm not sure. I would have to think about it and get back to you guys when I make my predictions for the wins. If you're going into this film looking for a historically accurate period piece, you are going to be disappointed, really disappointed, because what this is it's a mix of historical drama period piece mixed with that quintessential Lanthimos black comedy angle. The director makes this like every other film that he has directed. He makes it a weird, wild, dark comedy where these two women vie for attention from the local monarchy, and you know they try to preserve and exercise power and basically be the favorite of the queen herself, which is why the movie is called The Favorite. And you can never secure yourself in this film. Once you have a grasp of what is going on, something happens to throw you off of that balance that you made for yourself. And this happens multiple times throughout the film, and I really loved how unpredictable the plot was, especially because I didn't have any inkling of the history of those characters that were being portrayed. And also, this entire story is so refreshing in the fact that it takes that concept and then puts in conjecture from the screenwriters, and actually, I think the director I think Lanthimos actually directed this. Hold on one second. Okay, no, I was wrong. He didn't. But anyway, what was my point? No, yeah, it was all set to conjecture about how certain things had probably gone, and maybe a secret truth behind things. But you know, whether that happened or not, they're not acting like this is something adapted from real-life knowledge. This was just taking real events and kind of twisting it in a fun and kind of morose way. I actually, again, really found it refreshing. The cinematography really plays up the overall tone with how the characters are feeling, from the wide-angle shots that are supposed to feel impersonal to the odious close-ups of all these characters at their lowest and most likely most mischievous points. And this is pretty much the short way of saying it. The cinematography is foul and grotesque, and yet rather beautiful, marvelous in a way. Really, my only issue with the movie actually does kind of stem from the cinematography, and it was a choice made by the director, and it's using fisheye lens, and if it was utilized more frequently, I would have gotten used to it, but it happens only a handful of times, and I'm thinking less than a handful, at least like 3 times maybe on average. And because it only happened that many amount of times, I wasn't able to get used to it after a while. You know, and that may not bother people, some people. I know my wife enjoyed it, but to me it was too jarring because, you know, it didn't happen consistently enough, so whenever it happened, I was taken out of the film because of it. In the end, for me, The Favorite, I ended up leaving the movie theater feeling the same way that I did last year, or no, 2 years ago, when I walked out of Blade Runner 2049. I'm not saying that The Favorite is as good or as great as Blade Runner 2049, because it's obviously not. But, you know, that may be, that's a mixture of bias as well as the fact that I actually think that Blade Runner 2049 is one of the greatest movies ever made. But I meant in the fact that, you know, this is, the movie The Favorite is, pun intended, probably my favorite movie of last year, of 2018. And I think that simply because of the fact that I went in not knowing very much about the plot except for what's given in the trailers, and it completely subverted my expectations, just like Blade Runner 2049 did. And, you know, I was absolutely surprised by what I got, and I was really happy with what I got. And, of course, this film does deserve the nomination for Best Picture. Unlike a lot of the other ones where I've said it deserves it, but it's not going to win, this one has one of the highest chances of winning compared to a lot of them. I feel like in this race, there are only 3 that have a definite shot of getting that coveted award, with one of them being like almost unquestioning this is going to get it, and the other 2, including this movie, being, you know, yes, these do have a high the So yeah, if it ends up winning, I will be very happy if it ends up winning. But if not, then as long as the actual winner is, you know, worthy, then I think we'll be fine. But those are all my thoughts on The Favorite. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do not hesitate to hit that like button. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so that you can keep up to date with everything that's going on the channel. Farewell until the next video, and you guys have a good day.